Welcome. My name is Aya Nadim, and today I'll be explaining the basics of social control in North Korea through censorship in the media. Let me walk you through this journey and hopefully educate you on this human rights crisis currently underway. One of the biggest developments that's helped us advance to modern society was the advancement of all things technologically based. With that came an array of different gadgets and forms of media. All of these contributed to an easier lifestyle, whether it be practicality-wise or entertainment-wise. However, certain leaders tended to abuse their power through the use of technology and use it to their own advantage for social control. In the real world, this issue manifests itself in many ways. Among some of the aforementioned leaders is the infamous Kim Jong-un, the first vice president of North Korea. North Korea remains one of the world's most suppressive states. In the 7th year in power, Kim Jong-un continues to exercise complete political and social control. Linking this to literary texts that have implemented this aspect of life and twisted it to become its own, I believe that The Giver, a novel written by Lewis Lowry, was able to illustrate this the best. The Giver is a novel depicting the story of Jonas, a young boy who lives in a society free of crime and sadness, but at what cost? In Jonas' society, censorship has a major role. Without the censorship they have, the way the community is run would be immensely different. The characters are affected by this type of repression because they can't make their own choices and decisions, and the community has the idea of sameness. They are so restricted to the point where they aren't even self-aware of it. Applying this to our chosen global issue, we can see the similarities and resemblance are clearly comparable. Now, let's advance on to North Korea and the lengths the government goes to censor all forms of media that don't benefit them. The WPK, Workers' Party of Korea, is the ruling party of North Korea. It has been in power since its creation in 1948. Two minor political parties also exist, but are legally bound to accept the ruling role of the WPK. The social media in North Korea is some of the most strictly controlled in the entire world. Citizens generally aren't free to access media that isn't approved by the North Korean government, which is standard in any country to some extent. However, in North Korea, this law extends to all and every type of media that is foreign and implements different cultural, religious, or ethnic aspects and backgrounds that don't concern North Korea. So to avoid this, they don't allow any type of media that isn't originated within the country. Now, this applies to TV shows, movies, and even the news. In fact, according to Niall McCarthy of Statistica.com, only around 3% of North Koreans get their news from domestic TV, while the vast majority of people, 71%, rely on word of mouth. The second most sought-after news source in the country was foreign radio stations, with 11% saying they use them. The practice of smuggling thumb drives into the country and viewing them on DVD players, since few people own computers, is also popular, but this is mainly used to store entertainment content, for example South Korean drama or music. But we'll elaborate on that later. People in North Korea have learned to live with this controlled society and environment through fear. All protests that spoke positively of defectors stood against censorship, and more resulted in the death of the protesters. This made sure the citizens relied on conformity and anti-rebellion to live. While people around the world can freely browse the internet on their smartphones, tablets, and laptops, viewers in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, would be lucky to even catch a glimpse of historical information about other countries on their fuzzy black and white TVs that are permanently tuned to the state channel. Additionally, television has been a common part of US life since the 1940s, but in North Korea, it only really caught on in the early 2000s. USB sticks are becoming more common in North Korea as well. More often than not, they are smuggled across the border and preloaded with material like K-pop songs, which takes me to my next point. As hopeless as the situation may seem, citizens and foreigners are finding new and efficient ways to help fight the borderline inhumane laws of North Korea. For many years, North Korean defectors have organized efforts to smuggle outside information into North Korea on USB drives to counter Kim Jong-un's constant propaganda. Many people are participating, such as South Koreans who are doing said smuggling, foreigners who are donating to different fundraisers and campaigns, and you. By watching this documentary, you are educating yourself on the issues that lie within the North Korean government, which ultimately helps raise awareness on the matter. Of the many campaigns helping fight this cause, Flash Drives for Freedom has been the most successful by far. FDFF is a campaign that travels the world inspiring people to donate their own memory drives, an initiative launched and managed by the Human Rights Foundation. Flash Drives for Freedom is significantly increasing the capacities of these North Korean defector groups. Of their successes, over 100,000 USB drives have been donated, over 1 million North Koreans have been reached, over 50 million hours of reading material disseminated, over 2.1 million hours of footage were smuggled, and lastly, over 1.2 billion media impressions were made. These are some of the many successes this campaign was able to achieve, which takes me to my last point of how successful us as outsiders actually are at standing against the North Korean government. Before forming any conclusive opinions, I wanted to ask two foreign individuals on their opinion on the matter, providing them with context and knowledge and allowing them to create their final opinions on the subject.
As a foreigner, what are your opinions on the repression that North Korea faces in terms of censorship?
I think due to the amount of limited access they have, it limits their opinions and freedom of thought.
I think that this limits the citizens' freedom and it just makes the government look very suspicious.
Do you believe that the underground black market working to help North Koreans is unethical? Why or why not?
No, because this movement is created to support and provide entertainment for North Koreans, and it doesn't really affect or harm anyone.
I think it's wrong, but it's not unethical because what they're doing is trying to help the people experience other things which has been limited to them already. So,
using this information and the opinion of others, I believe a conclusion has been made. North Korean defectors are finding ways to smuggle in USB drives for the citizens' entertainment as they know how awful it was to be in their place. A world of restriction and supervision is all they've known. Taking small steps and initiatives like these, supporting different fundraisers and campaigns, and lastly, raising awareness in itself is ultimately taking us on the right road to their freedom. Thank you.